What is up everyone, welcome back to a review series of Men's Fashion Week. Today we are checking out more menswear shows from Milan Fashion Week. Actually this video is part 2, so if you haven't watched part 1, I highly suggest you check it out. Anyways guys, on today's menu we have 5 collections to review. We are gonna check out Giorgio Armani, Etro, MSGM, JW Anderson and Zegna. Alright guys, let's get started. Marco De Vincenzo debuted his first menswear collection for Etro. He took over the Etro reins from Keen and Veronica Etro, who have been designing their namesake brand for the last 30 years. They stepped down and now Marco De Vincenzo is a new creative director across women's, men's and home. The show was held at Etro's massive textile warehouse in Como, Italy. The vast industrial space was transformed into a show set. Fabric samples were hung on wooden racks and there were also rolls of vintage fabrics scattered around all over the place. This was kind of statement from Marco De Vincenzo that he is committed to put the Etro's textile heritage at the core of his efforts during his tenure. With this collection he made it clear his approach and stand, that he is respectful to the legacy of the house and yet he is not intimidated by its scale. So he went ahead and explored Etro roots and threw also a little of his own past into the picture. As he told to Vogue at a preview, an inspiration for this one was a wool blanket from his childhood, which he brought with him as a lucky charm. This small piece from his past gave him not only the inspiration for graphics and colors, but also sentimental impulse to put his story alongside that of the Etro family. Altogether, the collection looked super cozy and it was done in the spirit of 70s. Comfort of lines but eccentricity in the image is how the designer summarized his debut collection. The show was opened by a look that featured a long wool coat with geometric motif. This one replicated the graphics of a blanket that designer owned as a child. Up next came a wide range of looks that put knitwear into spotlight. Oversized sweaters and cardigans, seemingly hand-knit, set the overall mood as relaxed and casual. Some of them came with various interesting geometric shapes. Others featured imaginative kinetic patterns and swirling motifs that Marco De Vincenzo loves so much. Yet another highlights from knitwear included crochet knits with 3D embroidery of oranges and leaves. Alright guys, if you like jumpsuits, you are in luck. They were super trendy items on the fall-winter runways. For sure, Etro was no exception. Marco De Vincenzo presented a wide range of jumpsuits with retro allure. They came with various interesting patterns, including Etro's most recognizable paisley pattern. Others featured a striped pattern and they came with details such as a single pocket with embroidered Etro logo on it. Another trending piece from the season that we spot on the Etro runway was a long kilt. Marco De Vincenzo unveiled a wide array of long kilts in various patterns, mostly tartan. Using tartan fabric was a nod from the designer to the Etro's legacy and roots. Tartan kilts were coordinated with riveted platform shoes and loose mid-calf high socks. Up next came 70s inspired tailored segment. It unveiled a wide range of double-breasted suits. Seemingly the designer did this to introduce the 70s charm and swagger into the collection. This probably to even out the cozy feel of the collection. Anyways, suits were done in elongated 70s silhouette and cut in strikingly impressive tartans. In terms of accessories, bags were a particular highlight, and this comes as no surprise. Marco De Vincenzo is particularly skilled designer when it comes to leather goods and bags. In fact, he is also a head designer for leather goods at Fendi. Anyways, most bags that we saw on the runway were worn tucked under the arm. They came with embroidered vintage designs and rich leather tones. Others were handheld, combining the house logo with intricate retro graphics. On the whole, the collection focused on the grungy accents. uncomplicated silhouettes and lots of patterns, especially tartan. As expected, Marco De Vincenzo evolved Etro's pattern-saturated aesthetic in his own distinct direction. Guys, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This season, Massimo Giorgetti brings back his models from last season's Utopian Island and enrolls them at the Technical University of Milan. So what's happening here is that the inspiration for this collection came from the 1989 movie Dead Poets Society. Here in this movie, the storyline revolves around the fictitious University of Dreamers, and there is also a professor played by Robin Williams and of course his students. The designer took this as a main theme for his collection. He even staged the show at the Technical University of Milan, which in my opinion was a really pretty cool idea. He went even further and sent his show invitations as enrollment letters of the imaginary MSGM Dreamers University. He invited also Italian singer Gian Maria to the show. He recited short excerpts from the professor's lecture from the movie and then opened the show. He wore a beret, a varsity jacket full of signatures from the MSGM team, grey sweatpants and a pair of black loafers. He looked like a student out to get some more drinks for the campus party. Overall, the collection was done in preppy style, full of relaxed tailoring and sporty references. The designer reimagined typical campus looks by adding his unique flair. The highlights from the opening segment included monochrome tracksuits, quarterback jerseys and rugby sweaters that featured Dreamers University logo. Up next came various looks with retro appeal. Striped v-neck vests were worn effortlessly over white tees. Some of them were styled with baggy cargo pants and others with joggers. More retro-inspired campus looks came along as the show progressed further. Striped cardigans were styled with ski pants and a classic shirt, accessorized with a beanie covered with glitter. So guys, if you go to college and wanna look stylish and super original, head to MSGM. Alright, tailoring in the collection was relaxed and looked elegant. Pinstriped suits were coordinated with red turtlenecks and white sneakers. Others like micro-check suits were effortlessly worn over striped varsity sweaters. The soundtrack of the show was from Italian 80s punk band CCCP. Their controversial lyrics was a nice counterpoint to the light-hearted, delicate charm of Giorgetti's posse of dreamers. The last segment of the show brought mohair sweaters, more varsity jackets, varsity hoods, and a lot of cargo pants in various style and color. Clearly, Giorgetti has proven to be a strong believer in youth, just like the professor John Keating from the movie, who tried to encourage his students to break free from the norm, go against the status quo, and live free unapologetically. By the way, the collection was pretty short, included only 35 looks. Guys, once again, a solid collection from Mr. Giorgetti. He envisioned a school that celebrates creativity and freedom of expression. The punk and rebellious soundtrack, for sure, added a certain charm to the collection. Jonathan Anderson comes back to Milan Fashion Week with a new fall-winter menswear collection. Oddly enough, Mr. Anderson continues to show his menswear in Milan and women's wear in London. Anyways, for his latest menswear show, the Irish designer presented a super minimalist collection that focused on reducing and compressing. Jonathan Anderson is truly one of few designers who can pull off a highly provocative collection full of weirdness and humor, and he can do this in a way that it looks original and cohesive, in a way that everything still makes sense. What I love about his work is that his collections are never boring and banal. He always tries to explore uncharted territories and he never takes things too seriously. This time he unveiled a stripped back and super primitive collection where he takes us through the journey of getting dressed and tries to capture vulnerability and the feeling of how sometimes we have to withstand the ridicule we receive for the personas we hide behind. Alright, the show was opened with two models in underwear carrying bolts of clothes. Seemingly the designer reminded us of how every morning we wake up and decide how to present our personas to the society. Next up came two models clutching pillows inserted into their garments. Their legs were painted with tomatoes. The choice of footwear was a pair of wrestling shoes. The same shoes were used extensively during the presentation in various colors. Pillow-hugging looks transitioned into a series of looks that came with leather ruffled shorts, seemingly inspired by the designer's women's wear line. Here pillows are still in the picture, but this time they are tucked under the model's arm. Even though it was super stripped collection, Jonathan Anderson did not shy away to present his contenders for the season's Matrix coat competition. His coats came in a glossy brown leather cut with a deep V-shaped lapel opening. There were also uniform-like duffel coats fastened with lock and key. They came in leather and fake fur. The culmination of the outwear section was the designer's black double-breasted coats. They were wide at the shoulders and narrow at the foot, elongated the entire way down the body. The designer evened out the seriousness of this garment by throwing a pair of frog-faced clogs into the picture. In fact, they were one of the highlights of the collection. For this, Mr. Anderson collaborated with Wellpets, the British maker of rubber boots with frog eyes. If you are British, you probably know the same boots were famously worn by Prince William and Harry when they were children. Another highlight of the collection was a shilling-inspired segment that unveiled shilling jackets, tank tops, and even shilling briefs. Models' faces were covered with paint and swirly patterns. Looks like Jonathan Anderson continues to explore contemporary surrealism that has been capturing his attention in recent years. When it comes to other interesting and original looks, there were plenty on the runway, in particular the ones with plastic SIM card. Models had this placed on their heart. Everyone is attached to one, that's how Mr. Anderson explained it. This show was closed probably by the most dressed up look of the collection. A graphic tee was coordinated with slouchy pants that featured an asymmetrical front section. Alright guys, Jonathan Anderson delivered yet another super original and fun collection. On the whole, it was super reduced and stripped back, with a bit strangeness and full of humor. Well, this is typical Jonathan Anderson. For him, concept of nakedness is a raw state of mind, and he never takes things too seriously. The Italian fashion house Zegna presented its fall-winter menswear collection at Milan Fashion Week. The creative director Alessandro Sartori called this collection the Oasis of Kashmir. To give you more details, Oasis Zegna is the name of the brand's century-old nature reserve in the Italian Alps. So the inspiration for Oasis Kashmir was born in Oasis Zegna. The intent here was to make a proud display of transparency and to reveal a crucial and yet often unseen process in producing Oasis Kashmir. The collection was crafted with cashmere fibers that the fashion house is committed to certify as 100% traceable by 2024. It's a big step from Zegna and Alessandro Sartori in promoting sustainable fashion. Alright, not surprisingly, cashmere fabric played a big role in this collection. In fact, 70% of this collection was made using this precious fabric. Overall, the collection was dominated by monochromatic looks, which Alessandro Sartori loves so much. It was beautifully segmented based on the color palette used in the collection. Seemingly, that also channeled the fall-winter season spirit. The show started with gray shades. It gradually warmed up with tone neutrals, and soon after, soft to sunny yellows were on display, and towards the end came various shades of browns and berry reds. Alright, let's have a look at each segment. The first segment unveiled looks in grey shades and stone neutrals. This show opener look was futuristic suiting with elongated suit jacket and cropped sleeves. It was followed by a suit uniform that was coordinated with a turtleneck that featured a beautiful stag collar. The grey segment transitioned into stone neutrals, unveiling a series of super interesting looks. Soft uniform-like suiting was styled flawlessly with cardigans and polo shirts. Often suit jackets came with cropped sleeves. There were also others with a stripped collar and a raw hem. Up next came brown tones. Here some of the looks were similar to those from the previous segments, but this time done in brown color. The highlight pieces here included a sloping shouldered leather jacket and a chunky 3D knit sweater that also resembled an armor. The brown segment soon transitioned into blacks that also incorporated few splashes of red. Here the designer put beautiful contrasty looks on display. Black tailored suits were elevated with a red cropped jacket, giving it a playful vibe. Next came a series of looks in beige and tan. Mr. Sartori sent out super interesting pieces such as anoraks and lapelless overcoats. Vibe here was super cozy and full of comfort, but also with a touch of elegance. Sandy tones transitioned into a pale yellow and mustard. Soft tailored looks came with the designer's signature layering and tone-on-tone hues. Others came with super cozy vibes with 3D knits and turtlenecks featuring geometric patterns. These occasional flares of geometric prints gave the collection more dimension. The closing looks came in dark brownish reds. A V-neck sweater with sloped shoulders was coordinated with a turtleneck and wide leg pants in same color. This monochrome outfit was elevated further with a handbag in pale yellow. This at some point evened out a cozy and casual feel of the outfit. Once again, yet another amazing collection from Zegna and Alessandro Sartori. This time it was done by promoting sustainable fashion and design. It was like a statement that sustainability does not mean a lack of style. The collection was dominated by Sartori's signature soft suiting and contemporary menswear uniforms. Once again, it was super wearable, fit for relaxing in, taking business and doing everything in between. Mr. Armani presented super clean and sophisticated collection for his Giorgio Armani line. As usual, his collection was filled with elegance and class. Turns out the inspiration for this one came from the architecture of Milan. Specifically, it was inspired by Milan's atriums found in noble palazzos. Atriums were normally designed with discrete geometry in white and colored marble, which is reflected in the precious nature of certain materials used in the collection, such as cashmere, alpaca, velvet, and drapery. A nod to an age of elegance that, while partially forgotten, echoes in the elegant spirit of city of Milan. The runway was delivered in gradient hues, beginning with delicate grays that later transformed into navy and blacks. There was also a short segment that was splashed with various shades of red. Overall, the collection had a military/utilitarian feel to it. The first segment was dominated in grey hues. Looks here featured fabrics and textures with a lot of geometric grading and zigzags. Jacquard knits and cozy suits mirrored the marble-inlaid communal spaces in buildings across the city of Milan. The richly textured wools and cashmeres, on the other hand, mirrored the finely carved stone doorways. The opening segment was followed by a section that unveiled animal print coats. They came with leopard prints and also various striped patterns. Vibe here was super cozy, but also highly elegant. Seemingly, these coats were Mr. Armani's contenders to compete with other designers over the longest and coolest outwear this season. Animal print coats were followed by a series of looks in the spirit of the brand's smart casual attire. Double-breasted suit jackets stole the show. The highlight piece was a double-breasted blazer that featured prints of Welsh checks. There were also other interpretations of smart casual attire, as seen via versatile cardigans and cozy soft jackets. Here everything had this light, military and utilitarian influence to it. Pants, often shaped like sweatpants, came in thick, nappy fabrics. Speaking of pants, this collection was dominated by roomy cargo pants that came in tapered shape. They featured two oversized pockets on the sides. All these looks here were done in the spirit of comfort and functionality. That was also delicately refined and filtered through Giorgio Armani's contemporary and elegant eye. Next up came a shilling-inspired short section that put impeccable shilling outwear on display. Looks here were heavily accessorized with wide-brimmed hats, gloves and shades. Styling was done with pants tucked into calf-high leather boots. Here models looked like they were returning from military service or country weekends. The shilling section was followed by a series of head-to-toe looks in black velvet, which offered a sharp aesthetic that avoided looking overdone, yet also provided a high degree of sophistication. There was a super interesting suit done in utilitarian aesthetic. The suit jacket was reimagined as a double-breasted jacket with 4 pairs of buttons and a hood with a drawstring that rested on the lapel. Alright, cause it was a fall-winter collection, Mr. Armani promoted also his new ski wear collection. It was presented as a short segment at the end of the show. It unveiled ski wear inspired looks in muted color palette, mostly in grays with few splashes of red. Seemingly this section mirrored and reflected the ground floor rustication in many old pre-war buildings in the city of Milan. The show was closed by a series of looks of cute couples together. Velvet suiting and crystal accented evening wear dominated this closing section. So, if you are planning to have a night out at the opera with your partner or something similar and wanna match outfits and look incredibly elegant, head to Giorgio Armani. Once again guys, with this collection, Mr. Armani took us on an expedition. From elegant, smart casual attire to ski wear and evening wear, he explored everything. This collection was a tribute to the city of Milan and its architecture, the city that probably the designer loves the most. Alright, guys, that sums up today's video pretty much. Hope you enjoyed the review and got something out of it. Again, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.